Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my channel if this is the first time here. I mostly post shorts, so this is going to be my first official video. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this Ankara suits with elastic waistband and a zipper at the back. Yes, you can see how beautiful this is and also has a zipper at the back. Yes, this is what the zipper looks like. So come with me, let me show you how to make this. Okay, so these are the materials I'll be needing to make this Ankara playsuit. I made this of 2.5 yard for this playsuit. If you're in a bigger size, you'll need more. But for me, I just made this of 2.5 yard. And my scissors, my tape, my chalk, my ruler. Yeah, these are the things you're going to be needing to make it. And then my elastic thread. So yeah, this is what the elastic thread looks like. We're going to use it to make the elastic waist. Yeah, the waist is elastic, so this is what you're going to use. So this is what it looks like. Yeah, this you can see how stretchy it is. So this is what you're going to be using. And then I'm going to also make use of a zipper. Like I said, this is the zipper. So first of all, you fold the fabric into two, and then fold it again. That is making it a fold of 4, leaving about 1.5 inches at the side for your zipper allowance. So then you go ahead to draw out your starting line, which is what I'm doing. So every measurement you will be taking, going to start from that white line. Yeah, and so go ahead and do that on your material too. So yeah, don't mind the thread on my material. My material is a bit shaky, hence why I use the thread to hold it down to prevent it from moving. But it's not going to cover any of the measurement I'm going to show you. So let's continue. So after drawing out your starting line, the next thing we're going to do is to get the length of your upper part. To get that, it's just your underball plus 3 inches. That's your waistline. So you go ahead to draw out your waistline. And then when you're done, you add about 1 inch for joining allowance. So yes, I just draw out where mine is. So go ahead and do it for your. So this is it. I've drawn out my waistline and I've also added my 1 inch allowance. So the next thing I'm going to do is to get the shoulder measurement. And to do that, you're just going to divide the shoulder measurement by 2 and then you mark it out. So this is a cut together sleeve. So after marking your shoulder measurement, you're going to just add your sleeve length. Yes, add your sleeve length and then your folding allowance. If you want, in the beginning of this video, I did a turn up sleeve. So I later removed the folding allowance. But if you're not going to do a turn up sleeve like I did, you just leave it like that, and when you get to that point, you fold it. So the next thing we're going to do is to mark our neckline. And I went in by 3.5 inches for my neck width. Yes. And then I came down by 1.5 inch for the back neck depth. And then I also went down by 7 inches for the front neck depth. And then you go ahead to rule it out. Just place the ruler on the 2 marks they've created and then roll it out like I'm doing. So the next thing I'm going to do is to make my shoulder slant. And to do that, you just have to come down from your starting line by 1 inch. And then you slant it to the neck width. So you just take your ruler and slant it towards the neck width. So the next thing I'm going to do is to get my round sleeve. And do that, it starts from the shoulder slant you just made and come down. For me, I just came down by 10 inches. You can do more or less, whichever way you want to. So this is going to start at your butt line. So the next thing to do is to cut the biggest part of your body. If your bust is the biggest part of your body, you're going to use your bust. And if your hip is the biggest part of your body, you're going to use your hip. So for me, my hip is the biggest part of my body. I just divided my hip by 4 and then I marked it. After that, you're going to add I added extra 4 inches allowance. Yes, you need to add extra 4 inches allowance for ease. You can do more or less, whichever way you want. But I'd rather do more because I don't want to be doing an elastic waistband, so that place is going to be fitted. And then I'm going to mark the same thing on my waist. You just go ahead to mark the same thing you mark on your bust line on your waist. Then you're going to draw a straight line connecting the two marks you've just made. So after doing that, you're going to curve it to the armhole. Yes, you're just going to make a smooth curve. So after that, the next thing you're going to do is to add half inches around the upper part for joining. And then you go ahead to add 1.5 inches for the zipper. Yes, to measure 1.5 inches all the way down and draw a straight line. And then you just go ahead to cut it out. So when you're cutting the neckline, you cut the back first. And then you got rid of the front piece and cut the front here. So that's just it. And go ahead and cut every other part. And then when you're done cutting, you're going to mark half inch at the zipper guide and then slant it towards the back neckline to avoid any bulging at the back when you put your zip. So when you open it up, this is what it should look like. And then this is the front piece. You can go ahead and use bias to turn your neckline, or you can use a fitting. For me, I use a fitting. You can do whichever one you want. Okay, so since we are done with the upper part, the next thing is to cut out the down part. And to do that, you're just going to fold your fabric into two this time, not four, tuck into two, and then you're going to draw out your starting line again. So all the measurements are going to be taken to start from the straight line we just created. And then you're going to minus the upper part from the down part you're about to cut. So for me, I use 17 inches for the upper part. So I just minus 17 inches and took the remaining inches as the length of the down part. So you go ahead to do the same thing. And then you add your folding allowance. Please don't forget to add your folding allowance. Why I didn't add mine was because of the turn up design I did at the down part. But if you're not going to do that, add your folding allowance. For the width of your material, you're going to use the same measurements you used for the upper part. Mine was 14 plus 3 inches, which is your crotch extension. So that's making it 17 inches. So the width of your material when you fold this into two should be 17 inches. So the next thing I'm going to do is to mark my hip line, and I marked 10 inches for my hip line. So just go ahead to mark it and then draw a straight line. And then for the crotch depth, you're going to divide your hip measurement by 4. Mine was 10 inches. Normally, if you're making a pant, you can add like 1.5 inch. But still, this is a free place, so I'm going to add 2.5 inches. You can even add 3 if you want it to be bigger, depending on how you want it. And then I'm going to go ahead to draw a straight line on that mark. Please take note of your line. You can go ahead to label it if possible, so that you're not going to make a mistake when you want to draw out your crotch extension. So this is the starting line, this is the hip line, this is the crotch line, and then this is the full length. Yeah. So the next thing I'm going to do is to fold your upper part here, the front upper part, into two, and then place it the way I'm placing mine. And then I'm going to mark it. Like I said, it's still the same measurement. I'm going to mark it out. So yeah, this is the mark. After doing that, we're going to still take that same measurement on the crotch line, and then you're going to draw a straight line connecting the two marks you've just created. The next one we're going to do is to get your crotch extension, and to do that you're going to divide your hip measurement by 16. And I divided mine, I got 2.5 inches, so I just approximated it to 3 inches. You can do the same if yours give you 2.5 inches. So you go ahead to make sure you mark it on the crotch depth, not on the hip line. Mark it on the crotch depth. So after making that mark, you're just going to go ahead to curve it. Make a smooth curve there. Yeah. So the next thing you're going to do is to measure what you have there. Mine was 17 inches. And then you're going to divide that 17 inches by 2. 17 inches divided by 2 is 8.5. And then you're going to measure it from that point. You're going to measure it. And you're going to still take the same measurement at the full end. And then you're going to draw a straight line connecting the two marks. You can go in at that down part by 1/2 inch. It's totally optional. If you don't want to do it, you can just leave it like that. So if you want to go in by the 1/2 inch, you're going to slant it to the same crotch line. And then for the other side, where the crotch curve is, you're still going to, I think this is compulsory. You're going to go in by 1/2 inch and then roll it down. And that's just it. After that, we're going to go ahead and add extra 1/2 inch allowance at the crotch curve for joining and just cut it out. So the next thing you're going to do is to fold your fabric into 2 and leave about 1 inch at the upper part and then add extra 1 inch to the crotch. Remember our front crotch was 3 inches, so the back is going to be 4. So if yours is small, you do the calculation. For me, I did 4 inches. And then you go ahead to extend the line, the hip line and the crotch line to the back side. Like I said, use 4 inch for the crotch line and 3 inch for the hip line. So you go ahead to measure it and then you give it a smooth curve and then you also slant it towards the upper part. So you just slant it towards the upper part and that's it. Then I go ahead to mark my 2-inch allowance at the down part and then connect it to the upper part. Just measure 2 inches extra and connect it. And then you're going to add your zip allowance. And to do this, you just come down by however you want. For me, I think I came down by 7 inches. So you go ahead and come down by how long you want. And then you mark it. And then the width should be about 1 inches. And then you just go ahead to cut it out. You also need to plant the upper part, plant it towards the zip area. Just plant it, just like I'm doing, and you also cut out the excess. So the next thing you need to do is I'll start with the front panel and you place them right side facing each other and use 1/2 inch to do. And then you do the same thing for the back side, but they're going to start from where the allowance top, still using the same 1/2 inch allowance. And I'll do the same thing for the upper part. So I'll go ahead to turn my neckline with a fake. Okay, so after doing that, you're going to go ahead and weave the rough edge of the facing and then gum it with your hemming gum. So I've done that for both the back and the front. The next thing you're going to do is to attach the front upper part to the front lower part. And then you do the same thing for the back. You join the back upper part to the back lower part using 1/2 inch. So the next thing you're going to be working on is the elastic waistband. So first of all, I went ahead to cut out the excess allowance. After cutting it out, you can come down by however you want, wherever you want the elastic waistband to start. But for me, I came down by 2 inches after my underbust. My underbust is 14, so I use 16. And then the width of the elastic band, I made it of 5 inches. So you go ahead to do it however you like. And you roll it out. You roll a straight line to the other side. So after getting the width of the elastic waistband you want to use, the next thing you're going to do is to draw out lines that you're going to be sewing on. So I marked out half inch, but I later made it a quarter inch. You can make use of half inch if you want, but depending on how you want it. So you just go ahead to mark straight line because it gets to make your work more neat. So go ahead and mark it out and do the same thing for the back part. Exactly the same thing. 5 inches for the width, the same thing. And then you go ahead to do it. Okay, so like I showed you in the beginning, I showed you what the elastic thread looks like. So the elastic thread is going to go under your machine, which you're going to roll it on your bobbin and then place it in the bobbin case like a normal way. And you sew it normal. You just sew on the line you created. Like I said, I marked half inch, but I made use of quarter inch. You can also make use of the half inch. That's totally fine. So you're just going to go ahead and just sew straight line. This should be very easy. It might be time consuming, but it's very easy. You just go ahead and sew straight line. So this is what it looks like. I was just going ahead to show you how it looks like, how it's going to look like when you sew yours. So after going on all the lines they've created for the waistband, the next thing you're going to do is to join the piece together. So you bring everything together and then you pin the shoulder, you pin it down and then you sew it about half an inch. So when you're done sewing, you join the side and then after joining the side, the next thing you're going to do is to join the cord together, pin it down and you sew from the center to the left and then from the center to the right, just so the two lines are going to meet each other. Just so it's going to meet each other. So you pin it like that. You sew from the center to the left side and from the center to the right side. You can go ahead and pin it down first before you take it to your sewing machine. So everything I've just did. Okay, so when you're done doing that, like I said when I was cutting the sleeve side of this suit, I said I did a turn up sleeve. It was just a design I decided to do. But if you're not going to do that, you're going to fold in your allowance. But for me, I cut out the allowance I made initially and then I added my turn up to the sleeve. So the turn up sleeve, I measured 5 inches. The width of the turn up was 5 inches and then the length was just the length of the round sleeve. So when you're done cutting, you're going to add top gum sleeve so that's going to be strong and then you fold it, iron it on your fold, you press it down and then when you want to sew it, you're going to sew it to the back side. Here. You will fold it into so like you've ironed it and place it at the back of the sleeve and run it straight stitch and then you're going to take it to the front and iron it. That's how it's going to be. So this was the part that I was just cutting out the allowance I made initially. So if you're not going to do this on sleeve like I did, you will don't go ahead to fold the allowance. So yeah, this is what it looked like when I was done sewing. This is what it looked like. Like I said, you sew it from the back and then you take it to the front. So this is what it looked like. So when you are going to join this side, you're going to push it inside and then join this side like you normally do. And that is how you're going to make your turn up tweak. And I also did the same thing for the tip of the playsuit, the down part. You can go ahead to do it like that if you want to. Then you're just going to go ahead to attach your tip to it like you normally would. So this is what it's looking like. when I'm that busy. This is how it's going to look like when you do yours. I'll see how beautiful my place is looking. So yeah, this is it. So you can go ahead to remove all the rough edges. I'm sure it'll be a lot everywhere going to be rough in the inside because you didn't use any lining or whatsoever. So you go ahead to take it to your review machine or you give it if you don't have, you give it to people who weave and you weave it so your work is going to be clean and neat. And I also wanted to ahead add pocket. Yes, I went ahead add pocket because it's totally optional. You can add if you want. I did that off camera. I went ahead to add pocket. I'll show you what the inside of the pocket looks like. So yeah, this is what it looks like. This is what the pocket looks like. So after applying everything and weaving everything, you're just going to go ahead and give it a good press so that it's going to come out very well. You go ahead to iron it very well. Iron all your pins out very well. So yeah, this is going to be the end of the tutorial. If you watched up to this extent, thank you very much. I really appreciate this. Go ahead to like, subscribe, and share. And also leave a comment asking whatsoever in case you didn't understand any part of this video. I really appreciate it if you watch up to this extent. Thank you for watching. Bye.